Smooth breakfast, and it's actually time for Freshly Pressed 9 and we're about to go on live. What's he doing?
I was behaving well.
We're serious people in this studio, please.
It's okay. I thought we started. I could hear the music playing, so I was just wondering.
All right. Well, you can increase your. I reduced it. All right, mic's up. Studio is live. Good morning, Lagos. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's time for Freshly Pressed 901 here on Smooth Breakfast. My name is Ayo Mairo Ese,
And my name is Valentine Ohu.
and we're joined this morning by Analyst Cheta. Morning, Cheta.
Good morning.
Cheta is at Checkster on Twitter. We also have Gbolahan with us.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Valentine, and good morning, Lagos.
Good to have you. Gbolahan is at Mr. G Quest on Twitter, and we have Justin Ijeh. Morning, Justin.
Morning, people.
Okay, so you can join the conversation through different platforms. Valentine.
On WhatsApp, the number is 0809 444 0981. That is our WhatsApp number, 0809 444 Please send your messages there. Also send messages through Twitter at Smith981FM. The hashtag is freshly pressed 981. We're streaming live on YouTube, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just type youtube.com/smooth981FM. All right, let's start with our first story. This time, the story is from the Punch newspaper. Yesterday, the news broke that El-Zakzaky had been granted, the court had granted him leave to seek medical attention in a foreign land. And from this report, the Department of State Services have confirmed receipt of a court order granting the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria to travel to India for medical attention. Your thoughts on this, Cheta?
I read Mr. Afunaya's statements. Mr. Afunaya, Dr. Peter Afunaya is the spokesman of the DSS. And, I read the statement with a bit of a smile on my face, especially the last line where he said, conformity with the order is in line with the service's avowed commitment to the rule of law inherent in a democracy.
So it takes him six times, huh? For that.
I think Dr. Afunaya has displaced a lot of basketball, Bouvier, and the rest from their positions. It's hilarious. It's rich and hilarious coming from the same organization that seizes people from their beds in the dead of night without warrants, kicks down the front doors of churches, and takes 7 court orders before they even talk of obeying. On the matter at hand, whether they release El-Zakzaky is another matter entirely. He hasn't yet been released. Dr. Afunaya has just said that he will be released. But we should not forget that, and forgive me for being cynical, but cynicism is part of the nature of my job. Dr. Afunaya was appointed to the DSS spokesman only in August last year, after more than 3 years of no DSS. When the court order was given yesterday, and bear in mind the details of the court order includes that representatives from the Kaduna state government will follow El-Zakzaky to India for treatment and then shepherd him back.
So what are the rules? Are they security aids or
to make sure that he doesn't sidadule away to wherever he could sidadule away to. The point is, until such a time that he's released and sent for treatment and then brought back, if all of that happens, permit me to stay on the side of cynicism. For me, the main thing was just the hilarious nature of the as we shall see in a story or later today, the hilarious nature of the press conference. He was just reacting to the fact that finally journalists have somebody to reach out to in matters concerning the DSS. That's just it. exactly a year ago, if this court order had been given, journalists had no idea who to reach out to. They would not have been able to, would not have gotten this statement. So maybe we can take that as some small progress.
But everybody talks about El-Zakzaky. Nobody talks about his wife. Any idea what this could?
The court order covers both of them. Yeah, but no, but that statement. Don't forget that Nigeria is a deeply patriarchal society. His wife is his appendage. So
interesting, but she's human. An individual.
I'm just talking. You are talking about. You are talking about facts. I'm talking about reality.
Yes. From the Guardian newspaper, I'll go next to this story. A group takes Buhari to the International Criminal Court over inaction against alleged genocide by herders. The group is called the Democracy Vanguard of Nigerians in Diaspora, DVND. Yesterday, they made allegations, or rather, tabled their matter in front of the ICC. Not necessarily tabling their matter, but just sent in a petition that was dated July 17th, 2019. The petition is titled Acts of Genocide and Crimes Against Humanity in Nigeria, addressing the Special Prosecutor in The Hague by its president, Mr. Timothy Sowore. They're claiming, amongst other things, that President Muhammadu Buhari could not be exonerated from the ongoing killings by herders across the country. This is a higher court of international dimensions. What results do you feel, in your own judgment, or by your own judgment, that they're seeking?
Well, let's start off with what the International Criminal Court does, which is the ICC in The Hague. Normally, you're looking at crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and several other crimes, that fall under that jurisdiction. So now we have, just as you mentioned, the diaspora, the Democracy Vanguard of Nigeria, which is headed by the president, Mr. Timothy Sowore, who has taken this to the ICC. It's now left for the ICC to look at this matter. Now, if this matter is going to be treated as crime against humanity being perpetrated by the president, of course hold on, Valentine. Yes, let's not jump the gun. I do understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is that the ICC would now have to look at it and determine, is the president directly responsible for this herder crime that he's been accused of? Well, the answer will be no, he's not directly responsible, but indirectly, the president has the responsibility of looking after the welfare of the citizens. The primary objective of the president or of any government is to safeguard the lives of the citizens and their properties. So in this case now, we're having this matter that has been reported to the ICC, and just as you said, the claimant is saying that the president cannot be exonerated from it. They're also claiming that, of course, there's been laxities in the security operatives. They haven't actually done well in securing the lives of the people, and they're asking for the ICC to investigate the matter and then bring those who are culpable of this offense to book. Well, as we've been talking about for so long, these people that are perpetrating these crimes are not ghosts, they're human beings, irrespective of whether they're citizens of the nation or not. The claim is that they're foreign nationals coming to perpetrate such crimes. In this farmer herder crisis that we're having in Nigeria isn't only exclusive to Nigeria alone. There are other countries in the West African region that are going through this and are having similar challenges. Ghana has the same. Other West African countries do have the same. But the only difference is that the other countries are handling it in a much better fashion than we are. We seem to be losing a lot of lives with this matter, and
because of our resources.
Because of our resources, Nigeria is considered the largest nation in Africa. We should have more resources to protect the lives of our citizens, and we shouldn't be having people dying like sheep on a daily basis. So it makes a lot of sense. We need to look into it. The president needs to look into it, and we need to address the situation further, because it's causing a lot of divide along ethnic lines.
All right.
Thank you. Cheta, you had a thought to share on this.
Yeah, This part of the problem with what this group has done is the fact that genocide. So first, you have to look at the legal definition of genocide. Genocide is an organized. Uh, it's basically an organized effort to wipe out a particular group based on the fact that they are that group, whether it's a religious group or it's an ethnic group or whatever. It's and it's particularly difficult to prove in legal terms, which is why you have very few cases that ever make it through the system. Now, if this had come together and gotten all their papers in order, what will be easier for them to prove is series of mass atrocities happening.
Yes.
So I mean, from my viewpoint, this is one of the things. It's a problem within our legal system. The one example that flies to my head is the Ijeh thing, where we threw 198 charges against him. I was unable to prove any of them. But then, when the British government got him, they just settled on it. At the end of the day, these are things that you remove emotions from the matter and actually sit down to do the work. They've not done any work here.
All right, let's take some comments. Kenny from Lagos says, everyone forgets that the federal government only a couple of weeks ago claimed that El-Zakzaky was not in their custody. They claimed it was the Kaduna state government that was keeping him. Now it's the DSS that will release him.
And Bengus says it's now the right time for the federal government to release El-Zakzaky because the government had made its intention very clear not to condone the impunity and lawlessness of the IMN. A country shouldn't condone lawlessness, impunity, and recklessness, all because of a democracy. For every freedom, there should be the display of responsibility. Let's move on to our next story. Cheta, I'll come to you for your analysis on this story from Premium Times. Sahara reporters releases video of Sowore's arrest. Did you see it yesterday? What are your thoughts on this?
I watched the video. The thing was like a film from Stalin's era, when they would just enter your house and pick you up.
But this report says they dragged him out of his house, but from the video, it looked like a hotel. No, I'm just saying.
Are you saying his house looked like a hotel?
No.
Even if it was a brothel that they dragged him from,
What's the
the
point?
fact of the matter is that he was dragged away in the dead of night without any legal basis, all on accusations that he wants to foment trouble. This is why Minority Report territory here. You are being punished for a crime that you have not yet committed because somebody thinks that you are going to commit it. It brings us back to the whole conformity with this DSS avowed commitment to the rule of law inherent in the democracy. This is not rule of law. This is jungle behavior, simple and short. Going into people's houses or hotels or brothels or wherever or restaurants, even if it was in Bar Enclave, in the dead of night, to seize them for calling for what you call for because you don't understand the English concept of revolution, is what the Tsars did in Russia in the early part of the 20th century. It's what Batista's people used to do in Cuba in the middle of the 20th century. How did both of them end? Now, for the records, and I forgot to point out something in response to what Garba Shehu said yesterday, election is not the only way to remove a sitting government. If Sowore's so-called revolution gathers enough momentum, it can actually put pressure on the rubber stamp National Assembly we have to begin impeachment proceedings. I don't think that will ever happen, but these are all there's a process. So again, the right to protest is immutable in a democracy. If we don't have those rights under whatever name, and yesterday I pointed out 2 revolutions at least, with 3 actually, the Industrial Revolution, the Meiji Restoration in Japan, and the Whiskey Revolution in Pennsylvania and the US. These were revolutions
within democracy, democratic dispensation.
Japan was hardly democratic then, but the point is that these were revolutions that were distinctly without bloodshed. So you can't have a revolution without bloodshed. All of this potato that we're doing is just a justification to trample on people's civil rights, and it should not be allowed to stand. So I like Sowore. I don't think so. He's not the best example of what it should be. I don't think his Sahara reporters has been used for some very unsavory stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether I like him or not. The point is, where your rights stop is where mine should start. And if we allow other people's rights to be trampled on, the day somebody will come to trample on our own rights, there will be nobody there to speak for us.
So essentially sets a bad precedent. Thank you, Cheta, for your analysis. We'll quickly take a message or two before we move on.
All right, Shagun says all Nigerian governments since 1999 use the DSS the same way. Stalinists or them all?
Messages come to WhatsApp to 0809-444-0981. Our next story from New Telegraph. Graft, EFCC raids ex-Zamfara Governor Yari's home. And apparently this was simultaneously done alongside the raiding of the homes of the former governor's younger brother and that of the state official of the All Progressives Party. This was gathered that the operation was in continuation of EFCC's investigation of how the former governor spent the Paris Club refund that was accrued to the state. Your thoughts on this, Gbolahan?
Yes, I mean, it's refreshing at one hand to see that a member of the APC is being investigated by the EFCC. I mean, there's been a lot of allegations and claims that this current government only EFCC only acts against those that are in the opposition party. And I mean, Senator Shehu has made such claims where we've heard that we use insecticides for other opposition party members and then use deodorant for the members of their party. So it's refreshing to see that this is going on, that there's an investigation against the former governor of Zamfara, that is Governor Yari. And the report did report that the former governor isn't actually in town at the moment, that he's on Hajj, and his house was invaded by the EFCC on Sunday. Claimed that it's being claimed that there were bags that have been retrieved by neighbors. This is allegedly that there were bags that were received that were redeemed by the EFCC from his house, and these were probably going to be considered as evidence that will be used to prosecute the former governor. The statement also was confirmed by the acting head of media and publicity, that's of the EFCC, that's Mr. Tony Orilade, and likewise also confirmed by the former spokesperson or special advisor of the former governor too. So the question now is that we do not know what is going on, because of course we do know that in Zamfara state there has been a disagreement between the members of the APC party in Zamfara, and obviously, and this led to the former governor losing his senatorial seat. This was at the court of tribunals. Then he won the election in Zamfara, but of course this was taken to court, and he was ruled and found out that primaries weren't actually conducted by the APC party, so the election was now won by the PDP. So we don't know if the issue is now because of all the clash that has happened between them.
Can I just jump on?
Yeah.
Yes, Justin, please.
I couldn't get to the bottom of the story, but I need to ask, going through it, did it say that they got a court order or a search warrant for that?
Oh, well, these are other issues, because it hasn't actually mentioned that.
Is, like Cheta said on the last story, right? It's very important for us to keep an eye on process and procedural issues, because it's very easy for someone to, since EFCC says they only work based on petitions, I could write a malicious petition against you. It would be nice, I would sleep better if I knew that someone independent of the EFCC would look at that petition, i.e. a judge, right? Consider the merits of the application and grant them an order to search my house. But this idea of busting,
so upon findings that indicates that maybe there's truth to,
if there is reasonable cause,
yes,
right? If there's reasonable cause, the point is you shouldn't be judge and jury as the EFCC. A judge needs to look at your probable cause for wanting to invade my privacy as a citizen, right? To give credence to that search. Otherwise, it's just a Gestapo movement. You're busting down in the middle of the night, raiding people's homes because they said corruption. Yeah, this fight against corruption, there is a how to. That's all I want to say on that.
Thank you very much. Justin, I'll stay with you for this one. Next story here from the Vanguard newspaper. Governor Ugwuanyi of Enugu State yesterday has sent an anti-kidnapping bill to State Assembly. This is following a crucial meeting with vigilante neighborhood watch groups as well. Can you please kindly tell us what it's about? Take note of the story.
The Southeast governors in recent times have been trying to work more closely together to promote security in the region, which has really been nothing to write home about, with the ascendancy of kidnappings and raids by alleged people of the forest who carry cows around. So in pursuant of that objective, Governor Ugwuanyi, through his SSG, Secretary to the State Government, Professor Simon Otoanya, recently announced that they will be expanding their community policing infrastructure. So they plan to employ 1,700 forest guards within 30 days, comprising of 100 persons per local government. And also they want to pay stipends to 5,200 vigilante personnel, comprising 20 persons per ward in the state, pursuant to keeping or building a more robust community policing and neighborhood security infrastructure.
All right.
That's all well and good. I hope that the governor is funding this from his security votes, which usually is a black box. We don't know what goes in or comes out of it. I hope that the burden for this will not be placed on the people of the state. He has a very robust security vote. This is the reason why we've allowed them to have those security votes. So they should, I like the idea, they should do this. I hope that they can employ more technology. Deploying bodies and deploying people is so yesterday, and the kind of issues we're dealing with, I don't know that if you want to flood the forest with human beings. I mean, there's satellite overpass provided by private security contractors that can give you thermal imagery and let you know exactly who is where. And these things are available for the kind of money that you already have in your security vote. So please do go for it.
Thank you very much. Just very quickly, Justin, he said that the stipends paid to vigilante and neighborhood watch personnel is 5,200 naira. What do you think about that amount?
Oh, really? Are you sure?
Yes, says the state government also approved the payment of stipends to 5,000. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
5,200 people.
I beg your pardon. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So let's move on to our next story here. Justin, I'll stay with you. Still in line with security, 12 arrested as peace soldiers disperse protesters in Lagos. So this is just an update on the planned protest yesterday following the call by a group, and one of the conveners being Sowore. And the update, it's a robust report by Thisday newspaper, and I'll encourage people to read it. But Justin, very quickly, can you touch on this?
Well, I lost my voice yesterday because I was arguing with some friends over the phone.
About what, football?
Subject matter.
Okay.
No. It's only I only bring it up because it's relevant to this story.
Yes.
We were arguing about this.
Okay.
So we generally have a misconception about what democracy is in this part of the world. Fine, it's an imported concept, but we have had time to come up to speed. Dissent, the right to dissent, the right to disagree is hard-baked into the DNA of democracy. Because the rhetoric around here seems to be, if you disagree, you're not democratic or you're fighting the democracy. The government is a tool for the exercise of sovereignty which belongs to the people. The resources and the means to exercise power are donated to the state, i.e. the government, by the people. The elected officials are representatives of the people. So if I say to you, Val, the job I gave you to do, I do not like the way you are doing it. You cannot turn around, Val, and say to me, you have no right to say that. So dissent is an intrinsic part of democracy. People have the right to voice out an opinion in disagreement with the government of the day. It does not amount to being unpatriotic. It does not amount to subversion of the state. So, Cheta, thank you for the standing ovation. It's a very painful thing for me, being somebody who studied political science. We are still operating a quasi-military approach to governance.
Okay.
I saw videos online yesterday of the protesters at the National Stadium in Sowore. They were not armed. They were chanting songs. They were, doing what people who did the government do. Does the government have a right to maintain peace, security, and order? Yes, that's your job. But you don't do that by firing live bullets at people who are unarmed. You don't do that by being repressive. You actually have modern tools to ensure the situation doesn't get out of hand without turning it into jungle justice. Right?
Yes.
It's a good thing that we didn't hear about people dying yesterday.
Yes. And that's
I'm happy about that.
That's what the Deputy Superintendent of Police, Mr. Bala Elkanah, said when he debunked allegations that the police shot at the protesters. He says there are no bodies to prove that.
There are people with bullet wounds.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
but
you
let's be glad that no lives was lost. But
Yes.
this government needs to do better in how it handles dissent.
Thank you. Cheta, let me come to you very quickly for this report. Punch has this. The Deputy Senate President of the Senate, Omo Agege, said on Monday the alleged plans by the Nigerian gas company to relocate its headquarters from Ekpan near Warri in Delta State to Abuja had caused tension in the oil-rich area. Can you please take us through the story?
I think it's one of the very extremely few times that I agree with Omo Agege. He's right that leaving that place will worsen things, the Nigerian gas company. And in a normal situation, I really don't understand the obsession. For example, Nigerian Navy headquarters, Abuja. Abuja is over 1,000 kilometers inland. You don't have river sea access there. What is the Nigerian Navy doing there?
Okay.
Nigerian gas company wanting to relocate to Abuja. Where do you produce the gas and all of that? However, that's all on the surface. There's a reason why a lot of even the private oil companies, because the South senators have been, and Pandef and the rest have been trying to force them back into the region by making threats. But there's a reason why everybody is relocating. So Mobile, for example, a lot of the administrative work has been removed from Akwa Ibom and brought here to Lagos. And frankly, criminality, militancy, and all of that is part of it. So Shell, as an example, brought a lot of their operations out of Warri, same Ekpan Warri area, to Lagos because of this. And the effect, so it has become a vicious cycle. The effect is that these places, these three states, Delta, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, now have among the highest unemployment rates in the country. Akwa Ibom at 38%, Rivers at 36%, Delta at 25%. Those are very high. But the thing is, the ancillary employment that would have been provided by the presence of these companies there has gone. So where people who are earning well would have been present and then would have, by their very created employment, those people have moved away, but it is because of the behavior of the people on the ground. So that's what I would like to tell Omo Agege is, when you're pointing a finger, there are 4 pointing back at you.
All right, thank you very much. Very quickly, we'll take some comments from YouTube.
Sowore says, on the Southeast governance and security, this is what happens when a country consistently fails to invest in education. Eventually, it turns its citizens into watchmen of the forest. This is saddening. Emeka Nelum says, my fear for Sowore in this whole issue is that the government may not see him as an activist, but as a politician trying to take over government through the back door. This whole protest wasn't well planned at all.
Kia Sogo says, have you done that? All right, so let's go on to WhatsApp. We have this one, very long. Unfortunately, we won't be able to take that. Emeka Odeago says, the EFCC bungles their case almost all of the time. The objective is basically to give an impression that the agency is fighting corruption. In the courts, they hardly have any case. EFCC should conduct investigations instead of invading people's homes. It may be a calculated plan to destroy evidences. And then final comment here, we have this one from WhatsApp as well. It says, why does the government never learn anything? If they had not arrested Sowore, not many people would have taken to the streets yesterday. Now, arresting protesters yesterday will only give the momentum to the whole cause. This whole Gengen style never worked. Look at the Shiite movement, for example. Right, thank you all for your messages, and thank you to a big thanks to our analysts this morning as well for contributing to the conversation this morning. Thank you, Cheta. Cheta is at Chexter on Twitter. Thank you, Gbolahan and Mr. Gquest, and of course Justin at Justin Ijeh on Twitter as well. Thanks to our listeners for your comments and your contributions to the topic today. We go on in detail on one of the stories during Lagos Talks 981 at 9 o'clock this morning. Right now, we take a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Grapevine 981 from 8:15. Good morning.
Is your phone line now working?
No.
It's still not
just
working.
do messages.
What happened to the app?
That's the way you talk. I could have kissed you on this.
Oh yeah, it was very good at that.
Okay.